Hello everybody, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald. Board is away, so it's just me. And today, I'm going to be giving you a rulebook rundown of A Place for All My Books by Smirk and Dagger Games. Place for All My Books is a very easy to learn, cozy game. This is definitely a great one for a warm night in where you don't want anything super deep or super difficult. Just a nice little puzzly game about organizing your books. So let's go down to the table here. We'll get the rulebook out and we will get cracking. We'll do the setup as we read it. I'll put it over to the side. And here we go. All right. A Place for All My Books. A joyful life is a home filled with books, but where to put them and how to organize them. A Place for All My Books is a puzzly book gathering, sorting, and organizing game where players arrange stacks of books in different rooms in their apartment as personal projects. When done, they can admire their accomplishments and gain their rewards, not the least of which is renewed energy. And they can spend that social battery to brave heading out into the village to pick up more books. Okay, setup is fairly simple here. So number one, place the village board in the center of the play area. Boom. Make sure that has the correct player count. So we'll say the 1 to 3 side. On the other side is the 4-player side. So 1 to 3. Boom. Right there. And then place the yellow sun token on its sun track and set the correct number of players. So let's get the other boards out here. We'll set up 2 players on the bottom here. We'll put the other 2 off to the side. Over here. Out of the way. Perfect. Make sure we have room here for everything. Boom. And boom. And boom. And that works. And there we are. Okay, so we've seen the sun token. Go. Sun token. We'll say there's 2 players. So 2 players. Right there. Okay. Place all special tokens near the village board to include, which should include both wild books, the lamp, bookend, and 4 lucky kittens. So, we need the 2 wild books, 1 and 2. You need the bookends, the lamp, and the kittens. And then this is the first player token. Draw books randomly from the bag. Add these books to the bookstore shelf along with the top edge of the village board. So you're going to do 3, then 2, then 1. So we have boom, and then boom, and there we go. Okay. So we got our 3 books, 2 books, 1 book. Okay. Shuffle all little project cards to form the little projects deck and place it beside the village board. Little projects. Shuffle. So we deal out a project card face up to each bookstore shelf along the top of the village board above the book tiles you just placed. And these will go right there. Shuffle all little project, shuffle all other neat stuff. Other neat stuff. Place 2 of these cards face up near the neat stuff pile by the village shops. Boom. Shuffle all major accomplishment cards right here. Deal out 3. Place it face up near the village board. Place all others back into the box. They will not be used this game. 1, 2, and 3. How we look? I will take it. Looks good. Scoot this down for us. Just not touch the top of the screen on you. Cool. All right. Now for each player, choose a player color, collect all the components for that player. So, got blue and red. So here there's 2 cards for blue. You can just choose whichever one you want. They're the same thing when it comes to the effect. It's more so the artwork that you're choosing. And then all of our components. And social battery. And get this little guy over here. Same thing, he has 2 cards. Just choose whichever one you'd like. Okay. And so your components consist of your apartment board, player card, player meeple, 3 major accomplishment tokens, and your social battery. Pull from the bag books shown in your starting collection. So here, she has 4 blue. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 red, 3 yellow, and 2 green. And then for him, he has 4 red. So it seems like the color that your board is the one that you're going to end up having 4 of. It's the most common type of book that you have. Then 3 blue, 3 green, and 2 yellow. Okay. Now, on each space with gold dots in your apartment, so these spaces, you're going to place down 1 book at random from your hand, as shown. Okay? So the 4, then the 3, 3, and then the 2. Okay? So at random, so we take these all into our hand. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 1, 2. Okay. Over here, I'm just going to put them out just to make it a little bit quicker here. But again, this would be at random, typically from your hand. You wouldn't normally be choosing which books. Okay. Then we're going to get 5 little project cards dealt to each player. They are kept in your hand and not revealed to other players. Choose 3 that look the easiest to complete, then discard the rest face up to form a discard pile beside the little project deck. So each of us are going to get 5 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you will look at the cards, choose 3 to keep that seem the easiest, discard the other 2. Okay, so now each person has a hand of 3 cards to start. Okay. The player who most recently acquired a new book will be the first player. So that will be, I'll say the red player. Switch right here. The first player sets their social battery to 3. So over here, 1, 2, 3. The second player sets theirs to 4. Third would be to 5. Fourth would be to 6. There's only 2 players, so we're doing the 3 and 4. And that is the setup. Pretty simple, fairly quick, very easy. All right, now we're going into the objective. So, organize books in your home for personal satisfaction and to renew your energy. Then head to the village to gain more books, the goal being to earn the most victory points, or VP, to win, with book tiles being the best way to earn them, but not the only way. Each time a player goes to the village, the sun tracker advances 1 space. Boop, boop, boop. When it reaches the last space, players will complete the round, assuring that all players have had the same number of turns. Then each player will be able to take one last turn before the game ends. Whoever scores the most victory points wins. So, if on my turn, I push the sun there, I would finish my turn, and then blue player would finish their turn. Then we would each get one more turn after that, so one more round before the game ends. If blue pushed the sun there, that would end the round, because they're second player in this situation. So then we would each only get one more turn left over. So essentially, once it gets there, finish the round out, and then take one more round of turns. So the way victory points are scored, you're going to gain 1 VP for every book tile in your collection. You gain 2 VP for the little project cards completed. You gain a number of VP as listed on all other neat stuff, so this one says 2. Or you get a number of VP for each major accomplishment that you completed. How to play. Your player meeple will begin in your apartment. On your turn, move your player meeple to any space in your apartment board. So anywhere on here. And take the space's action as printed. Observe these rules regarding movement. So, 1. You must move to a different action space each turn, meaning you cannot take the same action again on the following turn. So if I took the sword action, I can't stay there. I have to move somewhere else before I can go back and do it. The 4-player village board has 2 spaces at the bookstore, but you cannot move from one to the other of the same space. So here you only see 1. On the 4-player, there's another white circle signifying there's 2. You cannot go between them. You have to go to a whole different area. Like, you can't stay at the bookstore if you're in the village. You'd have to go somewhere else. And we'll go over how you get to the village in a second. Gain energy or pay energy via the social battery of whatever action you're taking. So here, the little green circle with the blue arrow means I'm going to be gaining this much energy. So it says 2, so I go up by 2 by doing that rest action. These up here that have the red arrow means that's how much energy you would pay. So if I was over here at the library, it says 1 and the red arrow, so I would go down by 1 energy. So actions in your apartment typically gain you social battery, whereas actions taken in the village require you to pay social battery. Adjust your social battery token along the tracker accordingly. You must be able to pay the social battery cost indicated on the action you take. If you cannot, choose a different action. Going to the village costs 5 social battery. Therefore, the leave the house action, which is this one right here, is one you will want to save up for, especially if you plan on spending more battery to take actions when you're in the village. If you, this is the only way to access the village board. So you have to go here to spend the 5 to be able to get to the village, and then you have to spend more energy there. So what they're saying is it's best to save up energy before you do that, because it's going to cost you 5 to even go there, and then more to do anything meaningful while you're there. You cannot take an action on an opponent's apartment board, so I cannot come over here. No. Only the village board is a common play area, meaning we can all be in the village at the same time. When in the village, you may assign your meeple to a space occupied by another player's meeple. However, doing so will move that player to the park, where they will gain 2 social battery. Note, you cannot visit the park unless you are forced to by an opponent. So, if red went to where blue was, blue would get forced out and come to the park. Blue now immediately gets 2 social battery. You cannot voluntarily visit the park. It's only when you're forced out like that. After your action is resolved, play passes clockwise to the next player and continues in clockwise order until the game ends. So, social battery and little projects. Doing quiet activities in the apartment can be a great way to re-energize and increase your social battery. Most actions you take at home will gain you a little energy, but the primary way of getting a decent boost is through the admire action, which is right here. By completing little project cards. These. Completing these puzzle-like challenges will score you 2 victory points each, which is denoted on the card, the 2. But their primary benefit is the big energy boost gained from admiring a number of actively achieved little projects at once. The more you can admire at once, the more efficient your admire action will be. Similarly, building up a lot of social battery before you leave the house allows you to do much more in the village. So, this is a bad example for those cards. Let me see his over here. Yeah, there we go. So, when doing the admire action, you can do just one, or if you're able to do multiple at once, like say you're able to do all 3 of these, you get 3, 6, 9 social battery for the one action you do. So it's a way to make your turn more worthwhile. Certain cards marked with the village shop icon, like this one right here, allow you to draw a face down other neat stuff card from the deck. So over here, when completing that, instead of getting energy, you draw a face down other neat stuff card. And that goes into your collection. These all have special game-changing and rule-breaking effects to help you gain an edge. All are worth various amounts of victory points as well. So this is worth 1 victory point, but on your turn you can flip this card to take a card from the shops at no cost. So I could take any card from that shop at no cost. That's cool. Major accomplishments. Major accomplishments are communal projects that all players can complete. Only three are available during any given time. Given game. And they take extra effort to achieve. The first player to do so gains the best reward on the card and marks it with their major accomplishment token. So if blue completed this one first, blue would go right here, denoting that blue gets the 5 victory points and the 3 bump. If red did it later, red would go here, only getting 3 victory points, but still a 3 bump. And then everyone else would also go there in a longer game. All other players complete in the secondary reward, making a token as well. Yep. Major accomplishment may be claimed the instant it is achieved, as well as any energy or other neat stuff they may grant. It does not take a separate action. So, unlike the admire action to complete these little projects, for the major accomplishments, the moment that you do the thing that completes them, so like here, having 4 other neat stuff, once you get your 4th, you immediately claim the reward for that, which could allow you then to buy more stuff. Okay, so the apartment actions. We're going to go one by one over all the apartment actions. So first up is the gather action right here. So when you gather, you're going to gain 1 social battery. This action, along with sort, are the primary ways to move book tiles around your apartment to complete your little projects. You may pick up the topmost book from a number of stacks, then place them as a stack anywhere in your apartment. Note, no stack may be higher than 6 books, so you could gather up to 6 books and place them in an empty space, or place a number of gathered books on an existing stack, so long as the height of 6 is not exceeded. So for gather, you can take from up to 6 different stacks. So we did 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, it has to be from the top, and then you can put these down in any order. So say I wanted blue on bottom and all the reds on top. I would then take these and I could put these down on any stack. So I can't go here because that would be 7 books. You can only have 6. I could go here, that'd be 6. I can go here, that'd be 6. I could go here, that would be 5. Or I can go to an empty space, and that's also legal. That would be 3. But you cannot separate them. They all have to go into the same stack. You also don't have to take 6. Again, it said up to 6. So you could just take 1. You could do 2. Your choice. Sort. When you sort, you gain 1 social battery. Then, like gather, this action moves book tiles around your apartment to complete the little projects. But now, you get to distribute the contents of 1 stack around. Pick up an entire single stack in your apartment and place each of the books, one by one, on the tops of an existing stack or empty space. They can be distributed in any order, regardless of how they were initially stacked. However, no more than 2 book tiles can be added to each stack or space. So for the sort, you can take one whole stack and then place these out wherever you want. So you can place out a book on each stack, maybe one by itself as well. You could do multiple in a stack as long as it doesn't exceed 6 and as long as you've only placed 2 from the initial stack there. So here we placed a green and a blue. So I cannot do this because 3 books went to that stack. At most, you can only put 2 in the same stack, including if you're putting on empty space. At most, only 2 of them. And you get to choose the order in which you do so. The admire action, right here. Having some adjustments to your books, you may have completed one or more little projects. So you may meet the requirements here for one of these. On the following turn, so meaning after you've taken the sort or gather action to move books around, so on your next turn, you can take the admire action to gain the rewards from your little projects. Whenever you can, try to admire multiple little projects at once to maximize efficiency. Like we said before, it's going to be better to try and knock out multiple cards at once instead of just doing one at a time. So it'll take a little bit longer to organize your stacks, but the benefits will be greater afterwards. So, each time you admire, first check your player card. Your player card has an automatic 3 battery boost if your preferred color book is the most common in your home. So here, blue gets a boost if blue is the most common book. Most common means of each individual color, there's the most of that book in this apartment. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 blue books, which is more than any other individual color. So blue is the most common. So in doing the admire action, you would get an additional 3 boost on top of whatever the little projects give you. Next, reveal each little project that has been achieved by the current arrangement of books in your apartment. Verify each and gain the reward. Most will give you 3 social battery. Others will give you other neat stuff. And yeah. So if we completed all 3 of these, I would get an additional 1, 2, 3, and then they would get 2 neat stuff, which we already took 1. So 2 neat stuff from the pile, top of the deck, just like that. And then these just get saved for later. After gaining the rewards, place your little project cards face down in a pile to the side of your apartment board. So we'll say we'll put them right here. Or completed, we'll put them on the other side, put them over here. Because these will be in your hand, typically. They won't be where I put them. So I'll put them to the other side of the board. At the end of the game, each will be worth 2 victory points. So that's a great way to get points for the end of the game. The rest action down here. Speaking of. A lot of talking. As you complete your little projects, or find yourself with cards that are difficult to accomplish, you'll want to draw additional project cards. That is the perfect time to rest and dream up new goals. The action gains you 2 social battery and allows you to draw 2 little project cards on the top of the deck. After which, if you hold more than 5 cards, you have to discard down to 5. I only have 2, so I now have 2 more little project cards to try and complete. Read a book, right here. Your nightstand is one of the spaces in your bedroom. The read a book action gains you 2 social battery when you do it, so you go up by 2. And allows you to select a book from anywhere in your apartment and place it on top of your nightstand or start one with it. So, anywhere in here. And so it looks like you can take from the middle as well, I believe. And let's put that on the nightstand. Okay. And it says, this book may be taken anywhere in the stack, not just the top book. So like I did there, I took the blue from the middle. More importantly, when you go to the village, you'll be able to exchange any or all books in your nightstand from anywhere in that stack for any color books you want. This may help keep your preferred color the most common in your apartment. So we'll say if we had another red in here, right? And I was going to be doing the admire action next. Well, now red's tied with blue, so it's not the most common. So here I'm going to do the nightstand action. And we'll say I wanted to keep red on top, so I took it from the middle. I'm going to put that in the nightstand area. Now when I go to the town, the village, I can get rid of this book, which then will end up making blue the most common again. And lastly, we have the leave the house action. When you finally feel you have enough social battery, check, you can take the leave the house action. This costs 5 social battery, so we're down by 5. You will want enough battery left over to do multiple things in the village, so many players will wait until they have 13 to 20 battery stored up. This action also advances the sun token 1 space on the tracker. So like we said before, so we'll say he was already in town, so you are leaving the house, you spent your 5. Once you come over here, it's going to advance, we'll say this is here, the sun tracker by 1 spot. Okay? Player might only have 2 or 3 opportunities to visit the village before the game end is triggered, so plan accordingly. When you take the lead house action, you immediately move your meeple to any action space in the village board and resolve that action in the same turn. So, we will go to the bookstore, which bumps him down there. When he bumps, he gets his 2 social battery. All right, the bookstore. The bookstore is a great place to get books. During setup, the 3 shelves in the bookstore along the top edge of the village board were stocked with little project cards and a number of book tiles drawn at random from the bag. The amount of books offered on the shelves and which shelf has the most books will change throughout the game. But there will always be a shelf with the smallest, the medium, and the largest number of books. When you visit the bookstore, you will choose one of the 3 shelves and pay the listed social battery, 1, 3, or 6, for the largest pile of books. After paying, take the little project card and all the book tiles from the shelf. Add the cards to your hand and the books to your backpack. Then immediately restock the shelves by placing the little project cards with the new drawn and 1 random book tile from the bag for each shelf. This assures that there is always the smallest, medium, and largest shelf. For a 4-player game, when playing with 4 players, note the following changes. The bookstore has 2 spaces instead of just 1. The left space can only access the bookstore shelves in the left and middle. The rightmost can only access the right and the middle. If your meeple is on one of the bookstore spaces, you cannot assign it to the other space on your next turn. You must take a different action at a different location entirely. Each space is considered separate. You are only nudged out to the park if somebody places their meeple on your specific spot, not on the one next to you. So, to go over that, so the books are here, 1, 3, 6. So if I chose to do the middle one, right? I like the one that requires you to have the blue books. I have a bunch. So medium, since it's the middle, so it's not the lowest, not the highest, medium. So I'm going to spend the medium cost, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3. I take these books. They go into my backpack, here and here, which also can only hold 6 books per space. I also take this. These are my little projects. So a new little project will come out, and then 1 book will go to each spot. So that one has 4. Now this one has 1, and now this one has 2. And so this is how they ensure that there's always a smallest, medium, and largest space for buying books. And you can only buy from 1 spot each visit. Okay, moving on to the library. The library is a good way to get books of a desired color. You'd pay 1 social battery, so you go down by 1. And we go there. And draw 4 book tiles at random from the bag. So, that's 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 at random. They just happen to be 2 of the same color. And then keep your favorite and place it in your backpack. So we'll say we'll want a green. We'll put it in our backpack. Right there. Boom. Okay. Shake the remainder in your hand. Place 1 at random on each shelf in the bookstore. And so there's still a smallest, medium, and largest. For 4 players, when playing a 4-player game, note the following changes. You'll instead pay 2 social battery and draw 5 books from the bag. You'll keep 2, then place the remainders on the bookstore. Pretty easy change. Then you have the village shops over here. The village shops are where you can buy, or where you can go to find other neat stuff. There are always 2 that are face up. Oops, sorry. 2 that are face up, and then face down pile. When you visit, you can pay 4 social battery to take any one of the items in the display, or 9 social battery to take both items in the display. You may also choose to draw a blind. You'll pay 3 social battery and take 1 card from the top of the deck. Your other neat stuff is immediately placed next to your character card. You resolve any immediate effects. The cards are worth victory points and provide different one-time use abilities, ongoing abilities, or endgame bonus scoring. Many bend the rules, and where that happens, follow the rules on the card. If a card tells you to gain a token, take it from the supply. There is no limit to how many you may have. Have as many other neat stuff as you want. If you took 1 or more face-up cards, reset the shop's display by discarding any remaining face-up items in the discard pile to the side and draw 2 new items to replace them. A blind draw does not require a reset. So, if I were to take a blind card, these don't get reset. If I take these shoes, so if I take 1, that would cost me 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would put this next to my character, get the immediate benefit. When you acquire this, I get to draw 2 little project cards, it says. Oops. And then it says, when at the shop, I can pay 1 less. So if I go back there later on, I can then pay 1 less social battery to do whatever I'm going to do. But now, because I took 1 thing off the shelf, you do have to reset. So we will discard this over here to the side, and we'll put 2 new ones out. Again, if you draw from the top of the deck, it does not require a reset. Okay. You have the town park space down here. The town park is not an action you can take. When a player moves their player meeple to a space occupying you, it nudges you from that space and places you in the park. You gain 2 social battery for ending up in the park. Simple as that. Village action exchange, right here. The exchange is a leave a book, take a book space. So it costs 1 social battery to do, so we'll go there and we'll do it. Pay down to 1 of our last social batteries there. Here you can return to the bag any number of book tiles from your nightstand. All right, so we'll take this red, throw it in there. Then take that number, that amount of books, plus 1 of any color or colors you choose. I return 3 books, you take 4 of any color combinations you wish. Place this newly acquired set of books into your backpack. So I put 1 in there, which means I get 2. So we'll go with yellow and a blue. Sure. And this goes into your backpack as well. Boop. As you acquire books from the village, these are the backpack rules, add them to the top of either stack in your backpack spaces on your apartment board. The books you collect during a single action can be allocated in any order to these spaces that you like. However, once you place them, you cannot rearrange them again. Any future books you gain must be placed on top of the existing stacks. The stacks in your backpack cannot exceed 6 books in height. Any additional you collect must be discarded to the back. So what it's saying is, you can put these in any order, but once you place them in this order, when you take them out of your backpack, they have to go down in that order. Cannot rearrange them. Leaving town and coming home. If you start your turn with your player meeple on the village board and you wish to return home, place your meeple on the welcome home space of your apartment. Right there. First, unload your backpack, which I just did. Without changing the order or dividing the stacks, place each stack from the backpack onto a space in your apartment, allowing all the maximum height of 6 rules. Then, Take a turn immediately at home, placing your meeple on any of the action spaces and resolving the action. So now we're here, backpack's empty. Now we can do any of the actions in our home as well. Endgame and final scoring. When the Sun Tracker reaches the last space, finish the current rounds that all players have taken equal number of turns. Then each player takes one additional turn to go beyond that. To finish up, they can to finish all they can before proceeding the final scoring. So like we said, when this gets here, everyone finishes up that round that hasn't gone yet, and then you can take one more round of turns. And then final scoring is 1 VP per book tile in your apartment, including your backpack. 2 for each accomplished little project cards. Number of VP listed on all the other neat stuff. A number of VP gained from major accomplishments. And 1 VP for every remaining social battery you have. So if I had 10, I would get 2 VP, 4, and then 8. 2 VP every 4. In case of a tie, the tie player goes with the person with the most book. If there's a further tie, you share the victory. Easy peasy. Very cool. We don't usually, but I'll run through the solo version of the game. So let me just move this board off to the side. It's quick. It's only a 1-pager, so why not? So sorry, buddy. We're going to scooch over here. Okay. So we're going to add these components to the game for solo. So you have your Penelope reference card. Penelope reference. The 14 rival cards. Rival cards. Lettered A through N. Yep. Rival A through N. Okay. All right. And then you have her little meeple as well. Place the Penelope reference card to one side of your play space. Assemble the 10-card rival deck based on your preferred challenge level and shuffle them. So, easy is A through J. That's level 1. Level 2 is B through K. 3 is C through L. 4 is D through M. 5 is the hardest, which is E through N. So, easiest is A through J. So you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. And then these ones, you're not going to use. So then you would shuffle these, it says. It says take the first player token and flip it to the Penelope side. Is it Penelope side? It's not the Penelope side. Hilarious. Place it beside Penelope's reference card. This is so we just have a Penelope player token in addition to the first player token. Set the Sun Tracker to its 2-player starting position. And you are the first player. Start with 3 social battery. The objective. Who is Penelope Eveready? And why is her name now popping up consistently on all the books you had wanted to check out? How is she getting the new releases that you reserved at the bookstore? Without ever directly interacting with Penelope, you have found yourself with a rival. You can't help but feel the need to push yourself a little harder to get the jump on her. When playing the solo mode, Penelope is represented by her meeple in town. But with her extrovert superpowers, Penelope never needs to go home and recharge her social battery. Instead, she hangs out in town all she wants, laughing and having a good time without a care in the world. It's the worst. Penelope's actions are determined by the action lines on the rival cards, and her score is determined by her total collection at the end of the game. If you finish with more points than Penelope, you win. However, you can lose the game immediately if the rival deck is empty and Penelope is unable to draw a card. Count how many rival cards are... So how to play. Your turn is played exactly as in the standard game. After your turn, it is Penelope's turn, which is resolved through the rival cards. So you're going to draw a rival card and place it in the rival queue. The rival queue is a line of rival cards built beside the rival deck. Overlap them in such a way that you can see the removal icons, which are 1 or 2 books at the top left of each card. So let's put this down here below her. So when you draw, you have those two books. So it's saying whenever you draw, keep the removal queue visible at the top. Count how many rival cards are in the queue, including the one you just placed. Then, looking only at the card you just placed, find the action line that corresponds to the number of cards in the queue. This is the action Penelope will take this turn. The more cards in the queue, the more powerful the action line effect will be. So, there's 3 in the queue right now, so she's going to take the library action. The first part of the action line tells you where Penelope will move this turn. Move Penelope's token to the space indicated. In this example, Penelope moves to the library space. Yes, she does. Boom. If Penelope's token is ever moved to a space in town, and you are at that location, you are nudged from that space and moved to the park as normal. You still gain the 2 social battery, like normal. Likewise, if you want to move to her space, Penelope is nudged to the park. However, her park action is very different. As indicated on her reference card, the effect can add to the difficulty of your challenge, so be careful. So, reference card says, if she goes to the town park, add a rival card to the queue. Do not resolve the action line. So it adds more cards to the queue, which means the next time a card's pulled, there's even more books in that queue. So it's not good to bump her. The cafe is a space on Penelope's player card and counts as a space in the village that only she can access. The cafe, right there. Okay? Now resolve the locations action as shown on Penelope's player card. Many are similar to when you activate the location, but some are quite different. In addition, many action lines in the rival card have additional text. These effects modify or add the default effect to your location. Or effect of the location, sorry. A sun icon will advance the sun token 1 space along the tracker. Okay. So here at the if she went to this library spot, so 4 to 5 books, it says gain 1 additional book. Cool. Down here, the bookstore, it says medium shelf, which means that's what she would purchase from. So right now, there's no additional action. So for library, here it says Penelope draws 1 book from the bag, add 1 book of each to the bookstore. So for her being the library, she would literally just take a random book from the bag. That is now hers. And then we get 1, 2, and a third. 1 to each store. Once you revolve the action line, Penelope's turn is over and you begin your next turn. If the rival deck is empty, you cannot draw another card to resolve. You lose the game immediately. Managing the queue and resetting the rival deck is important. So if this ever runs out, you lose immediately. Managing the rival queue / rival deck. Every rival card has a removal set of icons. Sometimes that is a pair of book colors, and sometimes it is a colorless book. For each little project card you complete, on your turn, excuse me, but not your player card, personal goal, check its book colors. If it specifically mentions 1 or more colors, remove all cards that share that color from the rival queue and shuffle them back into Penelope's deck. This makes future rival cards less powerful and keeps you from running out of rival cards. Projects focused on colorless books remove colorless rival cards. So what it's saying is, if I did the admire action and completed, we'll say the kitchen, and we'll also say I did this red little projects book. So anything that matches the colors here would get removed from our queue. So there's no red, so that doesn't affect anything. But these have the gray books, which means this one would get removed. Cool. And that helps continue to build her rival deck again. That way it doesn't run out. Good. Oh, but it says to shuffle them back in. Don't put on the bottom. It says to actually shuffle the rival deck whenever you put one in here. Good. For each major accomplishment you achieve, you may choose a color or colorless and remove all rival cards matching your choice in the queue. Then shuffle them back in the rival deck. So if I completed this one with the cards up here, I could then say, it's like if she had, say 4 out here, right? I could say I'm going to complete the blue, and it would remove both these blues, and they could shuffle back in. So that's whenever you do a major accomplishment, which can be handy if there's a color that fills up this queue. You could then do that, name the one color, and just wipes them all out. Penelope's scoring pile. Many of Penelope's action lines will gain her books, little project cards, and other neat stuff cards, many times in addition to things she gains by visiting a location. Place all these things next to her card in a scoring pile. The contents of Penelope's scoring pile determine her score at the end of the game, and you can only win the game if you have more victory points than Penelope after final scoring. For the most part, her scoring works the same as yours, 1 VP per book, 2 VP per little project card collected, and X VP, which is number of VP as listed on her other neat stuff cards. However, the following exceptions apply. Penelope ignores the text of all other neat stuff cards in her scoring pile. All other neat stuff cards with question mark scoring values score a flat 3 for Penelope. During play, Penelope does not gain extra rewards like social battery or other neat stuff cards when she adds little project cards to her scoring pile. Ending the game. The game ends as normal with the sun tracker reaching the end of its track. You and Penelope each get one more turn, or it can end immediately in a loss if the rival deck runs out of cards. If the game reaches final scoring, you win if you have more victory points than Penelope. You also win in case of a tie, but you have to live with the fact that Penelope also thinks she won. Little FAQ section here really quick. So frequently asked questions. A player cannot hold more than 20 social battery. There is one major accomplishment that rewards you for exceeding 20 battery by 4, but you can't hold or spend it. So essentially that means like if you got to the top 20 spot here, you would have to then acquire an additional 4 or more to get that major accomplishment, but you stay right there at 20. Bookends and desk lamp tokens are not books, but are placed on top of stacks in your apartment. They do not count towards your book stack limit. They can be moved like a book, but do not count against the 2-book limit for sort. They sit on top of the stack, but do not prevent you from gathering the book underneath it. And that is it. Here we are. So that is a place for all my books. So very simple game. Stack books, reorganize them. Bombastic and I did do a playthrough of this already. I think we did the backpack thing wrong. I think we actually just put our books out however we wanted from our backpack, which is not what it says in there. That was my bad when teaching her. But a place for all my books. Nice little cozy game. The Rival sounds cozy as well if you choose to play that way. But thank you for joining me for this rulebook rundown of A Place for All My Books by Smirk and Dagger Games. I'm Bald, and I'll see you at the library.